Hello, I'm Dolores Nolan. Welcome to Island View, your source for television news devoted to Staten Island issues and concerns. This program is produced by Vision Quest Productions and sponsored by a variety of community-spirited business persons. Now let's see what's on tonight.
Low-flying planes from Newark are creating havoc for thousands of islanders.
There are 600 to 1,000 feet over some of our homes, and we have a major problem there.
The 1994 Miss Staten Island Pageant and this year's winning contestant. An island resident with a beef.
There are people in Staten Island here with kids in 2 and 3 different schools, and I'm one of those parents.
A spotlight on the Buck Stops Here, an organization that wants to keep consumers from crossing the bridge by reducing your current sales tax.
A very inequitable situation, and that's the 8.25% sales tax.
And of course, our crews hit the streets and turn our cameras on you.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Now, our field reporter, Mickey Burns, with tonight's top story, air traffic over Staten Island.
Newark Airport is located just 3 miles from Staten Island. Some residents consider this location a convenience, yet for others who have the misfortune of living beneath those flight patterns from Newark, life has become a nightmare. For many Staten Island families, it's gotten to the point where watching television or making a phone call is now an impossible task.
It's just fear. It's anxiety, you know, you're apprehensive, you don't know what to do. You can't live your life, you can't, all right, television isn't that important, but if you want to put it along those lines, you can't watch TV if you want it, you can't read, you can't concentrate, you can't eat. Your system.
And it certainly can affect your health.
Oh, exactly.
At present, between 400 to 600 planes fly over Staten Island's northwest quadrant on a daily basis. The areas currently most affected are Manus Harbor, Bull's Head, Arlington, and Travis. Residents here have grown accustomed to the roar of jet engines, flying as low as 800 to 1,000 feet above their homes. According to Graniteville resident Catherine Dugan, it's bad and getting worse.
Very bad. We've gone out, gotten petitions from our whole neighborhood because we have a lot of police, firemen, nurses, live in our condominium that work different hours. They can't get sleep. There are times when the planes are coming over every 10 seconds. I mean, it's got to the point where your nerves are shot. You don't know what to do. You call the FAA. All you get is a recording telling you to list your complaint. You ask them to call you back. They don't call you back. They did once. They gave me a big, long story about, oh, we're working on it, we're working on it. Because I had told them, I says, we had a party for the kids in the area where we spend a lot of money around the pool, you know, for a magician. You couldn't even hear it.
Not only is the noise a problem, but there's also the safety factor to be considered.
We did have a part fall, tremendous piece of a part fall off one of the planes during the summer. And we keep bringing to their attention that we have to wait for a catastrophe here before they realize, hey, those guys do have a problem over there. We're afraid of parts falling. How many parts are falling that we don't know about? We're afraid of them hitting the buildings here in the background.
As the traffic from Newark Airport continues to grow, so does the pressure from New Jersey politicians to keep routes away from their neighborhoods. Recently, the New Jersey Coalition Against Airplane Noise presented a new plan to the Port Authority and the FAA. Guess what? The new plan includes rerouting 485 more planes a day over Staten Island. The newest recipient of these proposed routes would be the South Shore, where jet traffic would increase from 85 planes a day to 570. According to Priscilla Carollo, president of the Tottenville Civic Association, if the New Jersey plan is implemented, the lifestyle on the South Shore will never be the same.
I think it'd be almost disastrous because, first of all, I mean, the noise is something, it's so nerve-wracking, it is so horrible. There are times, and I could just imagine how bad it could be, that you could almost smell the jet fuel. I have people on Main Street who, this gentleman has a boat that he keeps in his backyard, and he has told me that he has a cover that covers it, a canvas, that he gets the jet fuel on his cover. I found that, I wasn't sure unless I saw it, but he showed me. I mean, and this man can't be wrong. I mean, it could be jet fuel all over your home. I mean, all over your windows, all over our breathing. I mean, you're talking about people who live near, you know, Tonville has a lot of problems, as I told you in the beginning. You know, and you know about the dump here and all that. I mean, we have a lot of more pollution than we should have.
More on that story a little later in the program. Coming up next, Miss Staten Island and an organization that wants you to stop spending your money in New Jersey. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. March 12th was a special day for some ambitious, talented young women who gathered at the College of Staten Island's former campus at Sunnyside. 15 contestants from all over Staten Island competed for the crown, judged on interview, swimsuit, talent, and evening gown. Acts included singing, dancing, and monologues.
Forget about it. I have to get in a shower Sunday to be somewhere on Tuesday. It's as if we always knew.
I would rather drown in your tears, choke on your words, or smother from your kisses.
Each participant has a platform in which she will pursue.
My platform is sign language for all.
I caught up with our talented host who performed as well. The Randall Manor-raised former Miss Staten Island proved to be just as charming.
I think that they have the opportunity to learn about speaking in front of a crowd, about testing themselves and pushing themselves to new heights. You learn a lot about yourself.
That Staten Island is the best pageant in New York State, local pageant that is. And the facts are, Staten Island gave away the highest scholarships throughout the state. $6,100 was given out tonight.
Get opportunities to determine how you're doing scholastically, academically, finesse-wise, etc. This is an unbelievable filtration situation where they get to monitor that, get a chance to compete. Tremendous situation.
Because it encourages higher education for women and provides scholarships to that end. So I'm really happy I joined. I got some practice in public speaking and communication, and I can't ask for more than that.
I introduce to you your new Miss Staten Island for 1994. She is Kristina Ferraro.
Using my Miss Staten Island pageant, I hope to visit each and every school on this island, and really I feel very strongly about my issue and encourage children to stay in school. Really, we portray the educated, professional, career-oriented young woman, really the woman who epitomizes the woman of the 90s, and that's really what it's all about. It's about education and really knowing where she's going and how she's going to do it.
Throughout all the entertainment Saturday night, Miss Ferraro shone through to become the new Miss Staten Island. And what advice for all the dreamers?
This is Miss Staten Island, 1994. Watch Island View.
Island View would like to extend a warm congratulations to Miss Staten Island and all who've competed. Right now, here's where we give you the opportunity to spat out on what's bugging you.
My beef is the overcrowding in the Staten Island schools. I think the overcrowding is totally ridiculous. They rezone the schools every couple of years. It is not right for the children who have to go to these schools, stay in school 2 and 3 years, be uprooted to another school because they just don't know where to put the students. They must stop building houses. There is not enough room in the schools for all these children. The problem is the housing. They just keep building houses. Wherever there's a spot, you'll see a house going up. And as a result of it, it's hurting our children. Children get settled in their ways, settled in their schools, used to their routine. Before you know it, 2 and 3 years go by, they're uprooted. There are people in Staten Island here with kids in 2 and 3 different schools, and I'm one of those parents. It's very difficult, and it's very annoying, and there's no reason for it.
Very valid points. Remember, your beefs help us cover the stories that you want to see. Coming up next, Spotlight on an organization called Buck Stops Here, Part 2 of the jet plane noise pollution, and much more. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We have a number of stories to get to, but first, our Man on the Street segment. Occasionally, we send camera crews into the streets of Staten Island and ask thought-provoking questions. Here are this week's results.
Well, as far as being a consumer, I buy my clothing there because the taxes, I don't have to pay any taxes on it. But as you could see, I own or work in a liquor store. And I lose a lot of sales to New Jersey because we're so close to it, and people go over there because half of the prices that I buy because of the taxes in New York, like say if I bought a bottle of Absolute in New Jersey, it would cost $13. In New York State alone, it cost me $17 to purchase the bottle. So I got to sell it for much more, and I lose a lot of sales to that. But as a consumer myself, I go buy my clothing there for the taxes.
The reason I shop in New Jersey is there's a wider variety of stores. I don't pay tax, and there's less traffic, less people, and I have a lot of family that lives there.
You know, there's no taxes on clothes there. Parking's much better. People are more courteous, and I find that Jersey has more updated styles before Staten Island gets them.
The reason I shop in Jersey is because of common courtesy, friendlier people, shopping, less taxes, not overcrowding. It's a nice environment to go to.
Very interesting. People's spending habits can be a very touchy subject. On that note, this week's Spotlight focuses on an organization called The Buck Stops Here, formed by a coalition of Staten Island and Brooklyn business owners. Let's take a look.
Spotlight on The Buck Stops Here. We caught up with the coalition of Brooklyn and Staten Island businessmen at a rally near the Outer Bridge crossing.
Objective here is to focus on a very inequitable situation, and that's the 8.25% sales tax on clothing, shoes, and apparel that New York City, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Staten Island, and the other boroughs has to pay. If we go across this bridge, you don't have to pay the 8.25% sales tax, and that's not fair. The revenues, the jobs should stay within New York City. Towards this end, we're calling for our merchants and our retailers to participate in four sales tax-free days where the merchants will absorb the sales tax. This is Memorial Day, the 4th of July, Labor Day, and the day after Thanksgiving, the biggest shopping day of the year. People tell us we like to shop in New Jersey because it's cleaner, because it's prettier. Well, we're going to be working to improve the aesthetic here in New York City. We're going to be working to clean it up. We're going to be doing something to eliminate the graffiti and to make our boroughs, New York City, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Staten Island, a better place to shop.
Right now, we've had a very bad winter. We're going into our 14th storm in about, I guess, 12 minutes here. And New Jersey will pass along all those increases for salt, plowing, street maintenance, potholes, directly to the homeowner. In New York City, it's not done. In New York City, we pay our real estate taxes, and our city maintains everything that has to be done for us.
I would also like to remind the residents of New York that by shopping in Jersey, you're not supporting the people who support all of your local groups. When it comes to contributions for your churches, for your synagogues, for your youth activities, it is not the stores in New Jersey that support these groups.
If we don't stay together, you don't have to worry about having a city of Staten Island. You don't have to worry about having a city of New York. There'll be nobody to support it. The message is quite clear. We're here to help the small businesses. Without them, the civic groups cannot survive, or we can't survive. Something has to be done. We want action. The hell with New Jersey. We want to keep it here in New York. Thank you.
We caught up with William DiBiasi at the Building Industries office on Victory Boulevard.
Right after Rudy Giuliani was elected mayor, we felt that there was a rebirth in the city of New York. And what we wanted to do was get on board with this rebirth. And the best way we could do it was to get together as business people and to find ways to stimulate people to buy, live, and work in the city of New York. And what better way was to promote a new campaign called The Buck Stops Here. Simply put, if you live here and you work here, you might as well spend your money here. The response to The Buck Stops Here has been enormous. It's been greater than we could have anticipated. With the tie-in with Brooklyn, and eventually it's going to be Queens, Bronx, and Manhattan. I can see the whole city joining in on this. It's been overwhelming. I think if we encourage our neighbors to do business in the city of New York, you're going to see a big economic turnaround here. There's no reason to go over the bridge, and that I think is our main thrust. And no matter where I go, it's nothing like New York. You can't get the corned beef sandwiches, you can't get the Statue of Liberty, you can't get the trains, the buses, you can't get the police, you can't get the firemen. We have the greatest in the country. And I've been around and I've seen it, and it could be little spots here and there. Oh, this looks nice, that looks nice, but the sun shines brightest in New York City.
Billy really seems to have his finger on the pulse of this city. Thank you for your time, Billy. In a moment, the second half of the jet air noise pollution story. Please stay tuned.
Island View is brought to you in part by
Give your tax troubles to a friend. David E. Cohen, CPA, 727-5697. The only number you need to punch for taxes. The law firm of DeSantis and Spinelli. Professional, courteous, capable, and thorough. 1212 Willowbrook Road. 983-7400. Plate Man. Why stand in that tedious DMV line when you don't have to? Save the time, the travel, and the wait. Call Plate Man 667-4746. The Staten Island Visual Business Directory. Showcase your company on television every single day of the year for less than $1 a day. Call 727-3777 and reserve your space today.
Now we return with the conclusion to our top story, jet noise pollution, an ongoing nightmare for thousands of Staten Island residents.
When we left off, Priscilla Carolla, president of the Tottenville Civic Association, she was expressing that if the New Jersey plan is implemented, it would be a disaster for the South Shore. Now back to Mickey Burns with more on the jet noise pollution story.
Equally upsetting is the fact that the New Jersey plan was developed with the help of a $100,000 Port Authority grant. Joseph Manginelli, vice president of the Tottenville Civic Association, feels it was the allocation of these funds that stacked the deck against Staten Island.
They pacified us. They threw us $35,000, I believe the number was. I don't know what it is. Where they gave New Jersey $100,000 for a study. This is much like somebody giving us an automobile race and giving New Jersey a Maserati and giving us a Yugo and saying, go ahead and compete. Doesn't make sense. Can't do it. We need the equal amount of dollars that New Jersey was given so we could conduct our type of survey, our type of research, our type of investigation, where we could do it fully. Somewhere along the line, we're going to hit the $35,000 mark, and we're going to have to stop. And we're going to need the other $65,000 to do an effective study so we could properly present our case to the FAA. That was just a pacification typical of the attitude of New Jersey, typical of the bureaucrats, by throwing us of a bone. They're from Staten Island, let's just give them something, they'll go away. We're not going to go away.
Borough President Guy Molinari feels that the New Jersey plan is ludicrous, yet while playing catch-up politics, he is eager on having a proper study conducted to use as a weapon in his upcoming battles with the Port Authority and the FAA.
The planes over there are 6,000 feet above their homes, and they don't like it. They're 600 to 1,000 feet over some of our homes, and we have a major problem there. We wrote to the governor yesterday and said the $35,000 that has been allocated to Staten Island to protect our interest is not enough, and it's not. The proposal to fly planes 53 miles over the ocean, gaining altitude, and then going over Jersey is just one of the most nutsy proposals I've ever heard. It will cost the carriers a tremendous amount of money. It's a very dangerous situation because of the flight paths that go into LaGuardia and Kennedy, but you have to prove that by expert testimony, and we're in the process of doing that. So right now we're trying to appeal for more money. We'll get the money somehow, we'll conduct a study somehow, and we'll prove that they're wrong, and I think we'll win the issue.
Also deeply entrenched in this controversy is Congresswoman Susan Molinari, who feels Staten Island's jet noise problem can be traced directly into the heart of Washington politics.
The big stumbling block right now is the fact that we don't have enough money from the Port Authority. They gave New Jersey $100,000. We're not getting that much. We need about that much to really do a study that can come up with alternatives for the FAA that doesn't penalize Staten Island. So we're going to continue to work with Senator D'Amato and Governor Cuomo, both who have been extremely helpful. My father, the borough president, and I, and we're just going to make sure that we don't let up on this. It is a tremendous situation. It requires an awful lot of energy on the part of all of us because, unfortunately, Senator Frank Lautenberg sits on a very important committee in the Senate. But all together, we may be able to win this.
If the Port Authority, the FAA, and the New Jersey politicians are successful in implementing their current proposal, the jet noise pollution problem around here is going to get a lot worse. As a result, the quality of life on Staten Island will have to absorb yet another blow. For Island View, I'm Mickey Burns.
Mickey, that's a really serious problem. Are there any further developments?
One positive note. This week I spoke with Tom Bosco of the Port Authority. He told me that the Port Authority, in conjunction with the FAA in Washington, is working on a modified plan. What this would mean for Staten Island is that they would try to reroute the planes departing from Newark over the Goethals Bridge, as opposed to the Graniteville, Arlington, Manus Harbor area, which are now being plummeted by the jet noise pollution.
An important issue that really deserves a lot of attention.
This is an ongoing story, and Staten Islanders have not heard the last of this jet noise pollution.
Thank you, Mickey. Well, that just about wraps it up for tonight. If you have a story you'd like to see covered, our phone number and address appear after the credits. Remember, there's a new show every week. See you soon, and thanks for watching Island View.